shouldn't run over, but that should, yeah.
No, I'll throw up I'll put my hand up in 9 minutes.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Kaitlyn Huston. So this may look like a simple string of beads, but it's actually a visual representation of my privilege in society. Earlier this year, I attended a leadership conference, and one of the workshops dealt with privilege. Hung up around the room were posters that dealt with different kinds of privilege, such as gender, age, race, things like that. There were statements listed below, and if they applied to you, it meant you had that privilege. It was that day that I learned privilege is invisible to those who have it. Social privilege needs to be recognized to address and change issues of equity, power relations, and institutionalized oppression. So you may be asking yourself, what is privilege? It's the social construction characterized by dominant and submissive groups. And the privileged group is gaining an advantage from the disadvantage of others. This could be ethnicity, ability, religion, gender, sex, age, size, education, language, and nationality. Categorizing people into groups isn't inherently evil. It's the way that humans organize the world around us. It's the consequences from those categories that can result in stereotypes which hurt others. I don't want myself to fall victim to the paradox of identification. I don't want to pretend to understand or know what it might feel like to be an underprivileged group, but I come from a place of support and care. I am an ally. So why is this a problem? A lot of times the focus is on discrimination when privilege is the root of the problem. On a personal level, it's prejudice and bigotry. On an institutional level, discrimination, and on a structural level, it's oppression. An example of this can be seen through media, through agenda setting done by the media. This is the media telling us what to think and how to think about it. The way that Hurricane Katrina was portrayed could be an example. Initially, clips of black men looting stores were shown. This gave the impression that they were taking advantage of the disaster or that they were criminals, when in reality they were doing what needed to be done because people were dying of dehydration and starvation. Later on there was an outcry, and the real events were what was portrayed. Tokenism, which is the representation of an entire group based off of one, could be used to justify this privilege. People such as Oprah or Hillary Clinton are very successful women who may be at a disadvantage. One could say, well, what do you mean that women are at a disadvantage? Because Oprah, she's so successful, she has all this money, when in reality, that's not an accurate representation of many women in her situation. From the book Promoting Diversity and Social Justice by Diane Goodman, she talks about male privilege. She says, male physiology defines sports, their health defines insurance coverage, workplace expectations and what a successful career looks like is based off of male style. Our rulers and wars are based off of men's history, and the image of God is typically man. So the benefits of recognizing social privilege can be challenging stereotypes, which can result in overcoming prejudice and appreciating other cultures. Calling upon people's morality and empathy and encouraging a multicultural education are ways that we can change this. I listened to Melissa Harris Perry speak earlier this year, and she said that shame is the first step to dismantling oppression. Now, this doesn't mean guilt-tripping people who may have privilege, but it's having them recognize that they may be hurting others unintentionally because I said it earlier, privilege is invisible to those who have it. It's humanizing people and focusing on justice and fairness. Calling on people's empathy has them recognize social responsibility and pro-social activism. I am all for advocating for equal rights and humanity, but pro-social activism takes it a step further. This is the sustained action on service of improving other persons, groups, life conditions by working with them or trying to change society on their behalf. And a multicultural education. A lot of times, people in privileged groups suffer from an in-group bias. This is the tendency to favor one's group that they identify with. It can be helpful for someone who's in an out-group to advocate for someone who's at a disadvantage in-group. And by this I mean, I identify as a woman, and if I'm up here advocating for feminism or equality for women, I'm biased because I am a woman. I'm subjective because I may experience injustices done to me because I'm a woman. If a man were to come in, he's not subjective and he's not biased. It may be more credible because he doesn't personally experience what it's like to be a woman. And lastly, a multicultural education can have people critically thinking and really asking what truths they're missing from what's being presented to me. Privilege is apparent in society and people are suffering. Through advocacy, pro-social activism, and a multicultural education, we can break down the walls of oppression and allow people to reach their full potential. And remember, don't discount others' experiences or beliefs. Respect the differences because there is value in all peoples and cultures. In the words of the literary critic Terry Eagleton, genuine equality means not treating everyone the same, but attending equally to everyone's different needs. Thank you.